All right. We technically should be live. Okay. Let me just check up. I probably need to. Hi everyone, by the way. But I probably need to share this onto a few social media pages. Let me just do this. Can you hear me properly? I suppose first things first. Hey CPU, how are you doing? Arcade Mania, how are you doing, dude? Kevin, how are you doing? Thanks for joining. Did you like that? Did you like that thumbnail? It's proper clickbait, isn't it? Actually, we probably don't need the chat in the main window. Let me disable that. There you go. Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay. Ashley Holroyd, what a cool name. How are you doing? So you can hear you. Come here. Yeah, cool. Thank you. Yeah. The idea, I thought I would. I don't know if I do it regularly, but I'd like to try to do it regularly. Is stream on Thursday here, whenever I'm soldering stuff or putting stuff together. Like sometimes it's just like whenever I film for a video, it's cool, but it's just for a few shots and that lasts like 30 seconds max. But the rest of it is it's quite tedious, and it's easier to actually do it when you have people to talk to, maybe answer questions at the same time. By the way, I like these to be free for people to join. So hold on a sec. Normally I will. So I stream through StreamYards and copy that, and I'm going to paste that in. Craggy. That's exactly what it is. Craggy Island Soldering. You're not far off there. So I share this thing. I'm going to make that a stupid heart in the way. So if people want to join, you can click that and it brings you to the StreamYard interface, and I can add you onto the stream if you want to chat or say hi in real life and that kind of stuff. Terrible Fire might join later. And so I'm actually doing something for him right now. So I don't know if you follow the other channel. I think I posted a few pictures about those as well on the main channel, but my Eurorack module. So I have a few to make. Promised Terrible Fire I would make him a small Eurorack rig. So we're going to make about 6 modules and just fit them into this case here. Yeah. So I'm going to have to remove the ones here as well at some point, but first we need to build the module. So I have one, this one was made already. I have another one that needs a connector at the back, and I have 4 more. Can I please make more videos about PCB repairs? Let me pin the message here at the top. Yeah, if people want to join. Well, yes and no. The problem with that is I don't have any more PCBs to repair. So it's really that. What I have, and this has been a long time coming, is this Pac-Man PCB that I can't remember how or when or where I got it, but it was essentially a donor board for a lot of stuff. So a ton of the ICs were missing, and I had to replace while I was socketing stuff, I had to replace all the old sockets. So it's taken me forever and ever, like years, because I sort of stopped repairing arcade boards for a while because I had none, but I'd done so much I was kind of sick of it. So I think it's time to start that one again. So I'm making a video on that. I'm not sure when it's going to be finished. The other one I have to repair, that I have left to repair, is a Moon Patrol bootleg that has some video corruption on it. I'm not sure, but it's yeah. I don't know when I'll get to that. I'm not really set up to do as much arcade repairs as I used to. I have some monitor repairs. I have a ton of monitor chassis that are due to like to be a recap and repairs, like they're not working, that kind of stuff. So I have one that I'm working on at the moment. It's an Antarix 900E. And there's actually not a lot of videos and documentation on those, so it's going to be interesting. And I've about 5 or 6 of those to repair. So yeah, there's a good few of those coming. Yeah. Can you say 33 then say 33? Yeah, no, it doesn't sound the same, I'm afraid. I know what you mean, though. All right, let's get going. I have my iron here. So this needs just a connector. I might as well do that when I'm chatting. And like I said, if you want to join, you can just click on the link at the top of the chat and join me there. Are you still in the chat, CPU? How are you doing? Are you still over there? I don't know how much you want to share. Do I have any Namco 07X customs? You have to repair Galaga boards and all. Yeah, bad. I don't have any spare ones. No, I think I just have one Galaga board left. One of the reasons I haven't done as many arcade board repairs is that I was spending so much time essentially repairing my own boards for my own machines, and they inevitably, fail because the components are so old. So you repair one issue and another one creeps up like 2 months later. So like my Outrun carb, I was having to fix it every few months. Same with my Galaga, same with my Bone Jack. So I over time, as I was fixing stuff, I actually made small Raspberry Pi setups to replace the board while I was fixing the original, or 61 boards, like in the case of Pac-Man or that kind of stuff, or Galaga. And then I sort of found out that I wasn't exactly noticing any difference between the emulation and the original board. So I ended up just leaving the the emulator in and just having the original board in the cab, but not actually running the original board. Because it was just, most of the time, it was just so unreliable. Am I doing this right? Yes, I think so. I forgot how to... You're recreating Galaga just now. Oh yeah, cool. So have you set up to actually do some dev with you? Obviously, you must. Can I make some video on my pinballs? I just have one. Just have the one pinball, Whitewater, and it's running okay at the moment. So I have a long video of me repairing it over the space of a few months. It's almost like 3 hour long, but that's the only pinball I have. Now, I used to have a Gladiator, but I sold that. I sold that when I got the Turbo Outrun. I wasn't playing it anymore, and I needed the room. So you posted a screenshot on the Discord. Let me have a look. Ah, yeah. I'm working on an R-Type clone at the moment with Unity, because I made a couple of tunes that were sort of R-Type like. I was like, it'd be cool if they were used in a game, and then one of them ended up. Well, I licensed to a game company, but I'm not sure their game will ever be released. But I've kept the right to, so I thought it'd be cool to actually make the game myself. Well, first I wanted to make a small video of an R-type like ship with enemies coming and that kind of stuff. And I thought, I might as well, if I've made the sprites, I might as well make a little engine for it and let it run. And I thought, well, fuck it, I might actually make a games, like sort of one level per tune, that kind of stuff. Like the excuse is really just to listen to the tune. So it's more of a interactive video for a tune more than a real shooter. But right now, it's working pretty well. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see where that goes. Arcade Mania, you're very good at soldering, desoldering NESC, but you can't read schematics. Yeah, it's not. I mean, you don't know how to read schematics until you start reading schematics. You know what I mean? Like you kind of have to dive in. It's not that hard. My advice would be to kind of get a book on TTL logics, especially if it's arcade stuff that you're looking at, or just printouts of the data sheet. Because typically, reading schematics is usually a case of checking like what is a pin going out or a pin going in, and is the information coming out in translating to it coming out, and just comparing outputs and that kind of stuff. So you get familiar with, especially 80s type of 8-bit type of schematics. They're easy enough to read. Kind of had to dive in the hard way and teach myself, but it's you get the gist of it after a while. Whitewater is worlds better than Gladiator. Yeah, that's why I saw Gladiator. I did like Gladiators though. It was the music was great in it. It had really, really cool driving music. But yeah, Whitewaters. I mean, what a great pin! And best part with Whitewaters is I got it for free. We did a mixer next, so we need a lot of pots and stuff. Yeah, the Whitewater was. I don't know if you watched the video, Ashley, on the channel. It's I've a playlist on the main page that says full videos, and the Whitewater is there. Like I said, it's 2 hours and 3/4, or 3 hours, something like that. It's quite long, but I go through the whole how I got it and restoration process and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was sitting in a friend's boss's warehouse, and I got an email one day saying we're throwing this in the skip tomorrow. So yeah. A wireless soldering iron for £15. I'll check on Aldi Ireland. You're right, that could be, because usually I have to bring this unit, which means unplug and everything. But that might be, that might be a good option as a sort of a emergency setup, actually. Thank you. I'll check that afterwards. I'm not sure how it works in like across different countries. Like, do they actually do the same deals? They probably don't, because I remember going to getting some stuff in Aldi and Lidl when I was on holiday in France, and telling my friends here, and they were like, "Oh, we never heard of that." So I don't know, but I'll have a look. It'd be worth checking. Like it could be a handy one, yeah, to just fix cabling and things like that. No sign of my microscope. It's on the way, but it was due. It was supposed to arrive. Charges USB to. Okay. That I'm not too fussed about, but oh, I forgot one. Actually, no, that's kind of handy too, because I can actually bring it back here, charge it in a dry room, as opposed to leaving it there. Iron is Haka. Oh, it's that expensive, the Haka iron. This was precision gold from Maplin. I don't know. You can set the temperature. That's all I know about it. I don't know if it's good or bad. I suppose if it works, if it does the job, it's good enough. And so far, it's done the job for all my arcade stuff and now all the SMD stuff, which is always a plus. I resisted SMD for the longest time, but I suppose now with the Amiga stuff and some of the boards and the TFMSX, and I have a video coming on these cards that I was soldering the last. It wasn't last week; it was the week before actually, and. I have a few videos coming. I've just been working on a lot of stuff at the same time, so I haven't had time to finish anything in particular. But yeah, there's a good few videos coming soon. 100K pots. So what I'm building is a small VCO, so an oscillator. It's the stuff that makes a sound. A filter module. There will be obviously an envelope generator, so you can actually shape the sound and use it with an actual keyboard. So then a VCA that serves as an amplifier. So the VCA essentially links the sound of the oscillator and the shape of the envelope, and it just combines. It amplifies the sound of the VCO to the shape of the envelope, so that allows you to shape that sound. And you need a nice cup of tea. Yeah. What else? Yeah, so I have a mixer here for him because I wasn't sure whether I should put a second VCO to give a sort of a wider, cooler sound, but single VCO modules are kind of cool too. And I thought I'd make him one of the white noise modules, so you can actually introduce like white noise, and you can play with white noise to generate like percussive elements if you want to. So it might be more versatile with a white noise module as opposed to a second VCO. Come on. And these little modules, I know regular people that watch the channel, either Banjo Guy Ollie channel or this channel, don't have much interest in this, but these guys that I sell on the Etsy shop, it's essentially what saved the channel, because when I was still fixing arcade boards, I had to come. That's the reason I stopped fixing them as well, by the way. I had to come to the realization that it was very expensive to fix, and I didn't. There's not a lot of people on Patreon on this channel. Yeah, so I had to kind of realize that it was costing me a lot of money to run the channel like that. At my own expense and fixing those boards, that because it costs a lot of money in parts, if we're fully honest. So I made a few kind of it started like that, a few JAMA adapters and things like that on the channel, and it actually helped me kind of realize there was an interest in those. So some of the customs for IREM as well, I sold there. I've open sourced the design now, so they're on GitHub. And then the MSX cards and the Mega Drive cards and all that. So it brought in a little income for the channel, so I could actually buy parts. And then when I started getting interested in the topic of Eurorax, because I was getting a lot of synthesizers for the other channel, I thought, you know what, I might as well just, instead of buying them, they're very expensive, I might as well make very simple ones, but at least they'll be my own designs and all that. So I started selling them about was it 2 years ago? And essentially, it's what allowed me to continue getting a few arcade machines and the equipment to restore them and that kind of stuff. Without those guys, I don't think I'd be running the channel anymore. I didn't want to start begging on the channel for Patreon support and that kind of stuff. So I thought I'd find a way to finance it myself, and it's worked. Like, I'm kind of happy about that. So, and then obviously PCBWay stepped in at the beginning of last year, or at the beginning of this year, or end of last year, and yeah, the channel is viable. It's small, but it's surprisingly now viable as a, not as a business, but it's not costing me any money, is what I'm trying to say. that's what's really important. Mixer module done. You're gone, CPU. See you later. See you later. Have a good evening and look after yourself. Let me just check some. So where are people from in the chat? I know CP is from Italy. I'm guessing, Ashley, you're in the UK. You were talking in pounds earlier. That's 3. Oh no! We're not done with this one. Okay, so we need the connector here as well. I'll clean them afterwards once I have them all done, or maybe actually it's not really a problem, flux on pads that big. It's an issue with SMD, of course, because it can corrode and create bridges. It's rarely been an issue for me on true load stuff, but it can be. Ideally, you always want to clean the flux. Newcastle. Never been. I was in Scotland recently at Terrifier's party. That was my second time in Scotland. I can't remember much from the first time because I think, by all accounts, I got very, very drunk. But I'm told it was great. So, and then other than that, England, I used to go to Cornwall a lot when I was a kid because my mother would send me to her. She had a pen pal in Cornwall, and when she was a kid in school in France, so they stayed friends all throughout the years. And when I was, I think, 14, my mother started sending me every year to their family, and then I'd come back with their son, and he'd spend a couple of weeks with us in summer as well. So yeah, I spent a lot of time there in Cornwall. It's a lovely place. I always think I'm going to put those backwards, but is that right? Yeah, pin 1 is here. Yeah. My self-taught, or from an engineering background, entirely self-taught. What happened is I bought an arcade machine one year, and it broke down. It was an Arkanoid. That was my first arcade machine, and yeah, the game broke down, and well, first the flyback went. So I started reading a lot of information online, tools needed and that kind of stuff. And then a lot of videos. I used to watch a lot of One Circuit at the time when he was still making videos, and it was great because he was going through each of the parts of them, going through the schematics, and it kind of showed you how to sort of read schematics as well. By the way, that's a good one for you. Who was it? Was it Kevin who was wondering about reading schematics, or Arcade Mania? One Circuit on YouTube. He hasn't posted in ages, but he was going through a lot of Donkey Kong repairs, a lot of Nintendo stuff, the way I used to, and but he knew what he was talking about. That's the difference. And then from there, I kind of took a shot at fixing my own cab, and it worked. So that gave me the confidence to get like other boards and kind of learn from there. But then I get obsessed with stuff, so like I'd spend entire evenings just researching and reading and yeah. So that's very much not self-taught because you always learn from somebody else, but yeah. But that makes me extremely dangerous because I know enough to cause damage, if you know what I mean. I think I know enough, and I've only had one failed board, and it was another Arkanoid that I've never been able to fix. I ended up sending it to a guy whose job is to fix. Can't remember who it was, and he couldn't fix it either. He couldn't figure out what the problem was. The problem with Arkanoid is that they have a coating, which was very unusual for a game in the 90s. Very much like these. So they have a coating on the PCB. By the way, is anybody trying to join in the stream here? No. So they have a coating on the PCB, which kind of makes it hard to see where the traces are going. Not that it was my goal when I made these PCBs. I just thought it looked cool. But regardless, PCB it doesn't, or JLC PCB or anything like that. I don't think they'll let you print anything without a soldering or a trace mask on it. Nope, that's not it. You know what's surprising is the comment section on the channel. I've never had somebody commenting about my at least negatively commenting on stuff I was doing wrong or my soldering skills or anything like that. There's been a few comments, but it was mostly advice and actually very, very polite and nice advice, which I get advice comments on my music channel, and they're from people who are self-appointed experts, but I haven't had that on this channel. Maybe it's small enough, I'm going under the radar still, but yeah, I've done it for long enough that I think a lot of people have at least passed through the channel. But then again, I don't indulge people either when they behave like that, so I just delete. But it's super rare I get somebody coming in with an attitude or even a sort of smart arse type of comment. It doesn't really happen. Shouldn't say that. I'm gonna get 500 next week. Have I ever had an electric shock from a monitor? Yes. yes. Yeah, I got zapped a couple of times. I got zapped, well, first by the cathode that I had previously discharged, but only once. You should really do it a few times. And then I went to handle the monitor and place my hand behind and near the cathode or right on the cathode, and felt it. Thank God I hadn't started to lift the monitor, because that could have been bad for the monitor mostly. But yeah, I got zapped then. That wasn't fun. And I also got zapped from trying to change the coil itself, the yoke, and not by the windings because they're coated. If they weren't coated, they'll be pointless. They'll just burn out. But by by where the volts are actually going into the coils, and that can have quite a. I'm not sure exactly, but could be 1K or at least a few hundred volts going through those. So I felt that as well. Interestingly, that's not the dangerous voltage because the chassis will just shut off then, and the cathode one, it's just a one-off. Like it's like getting tased, not as bad as getting tased to be honest, but it just gives you a nasty shock. But it's a once-off shock. What is potentially very dangerous is the big caps, because they have they can contain quite a charge for an extended period of time, and you won't just get one zap, you'll get a longer discharge. And I believe that's essentially been what has caused, however few that was, but it has caused cases of deaths and in people fixing those. Those big caps are nasty. Because everybody thinks the cathode, like the cathode is nasty, don't get me wrong. But it's more unpleasant than anything else. But everybody is afraid of that big discharge. But it's a once-off discharge, and it's very, very unlikely. It's not impossible, but it's highly unlikely that it's enough to kill somebody. I mean, a taser is how many volts? Like 20,000 as well. That's a 19-inch monitor, and it's not as prolonged a discharge. So the other thing is people get afraid of the flyback, but that charge is inside the tube, and there's big diodes between the tube and the cathode and the flashback, the flyback. Obviously, it's called the cathode, and so the current cannot come back from the tube into the flyback or into that area. So it's quite safe to handle. But yeah, the primary section is the section you want to be very careful of. I feel I need music in the stream. Could I play some of the covers on the channel? Let me just as sort of a background. So just bear with me. Get some Turk stuff. Oh, but it's going to play the ads. No, I can't do that. I don't have my music on this computer. You're saying when a monitor is off, it's okay to touch the chassis. Oh yeah. If it's obviously if it's unplugged from the mains and all that, but yeah, it's if the monitor is off, it's okay to touch the chassis. The only one you want to watch out for is those big caps underneath. So you want to make sure you discharge those as well. And people forget about those in a lot of video repairs. Usually there's a bleed resistor near that big cap, but nobody mentions those in repair videos, and they're actually the ones you want to watch out for. Best to discharge, always, always. Never assume that there's a discharge setup, and although a lot have nowadays, but a lot of the home equipment, like so televisions, would not have necessarily have a discharge circuit because it wasn't needed. You weren't meant as a user to work on those. So is it safe to touch the chassis when it's off? Absolutely. Provided you discharge the big caps. And is it safe to touch it when it's live? That's actually, it's not a question anybody's asked, but it's actually an interesting question. Yes, it depends where. Obviously, nowhere in the primary section of the power supply, and nowhere or as little as you want in the high voltage section. It really depends where on the chassis. And so the answer is yes, it's safe enough. The same side of the other side of that answer is no, absolutely not. It just really depends where. You got to know what chassis you're dealing with before you start. Even probing with a multimeter when it's live can be problematic. So, hey Dave, how are you doing? Don't burn yourself or put any chips backwards. I did that last time, didn't I? It's good advice. It's good advice. I'm making a Eurorack, little Eurorack rig for Terrible Fire, because he's forced me to get into SMD soldering, and I want him to experience the pain and the headache that is making music with Eurorack setup. How are you doing, Dave? Do I have a favorite arcade year when most of my games were released or just a good time? Favorite arcade year? No. I have favorite arcade games, but they actually span across different eras. So Outrun would be my absolute favorite arcade game, with Arkanoid a close second. Galaga probably third. What else have I got? Yeah, I have an Asteroid, which I love as well. But I don't remember playing that as a kid. It was more nostalgia by proxy. Like I would have seen cabs, and I would have seen older guys just play those older cabs. But even as a kid, I was like, that's an old game. Who wants to play that? Bridge. But I don't think I have an absolute favorite period or time. It just I think it was just the time I experienced them. Oh, that was clever. And I didn't think too much when I designed those, but some of them can be finicky to actually solder the. It's not too bad, but yeah. The connector can be a bit tricky. Where did I see the best arcades? UK and Ireland. So I didn't grow up in the UK. I grew up in France. So all my arcade time as a kid was in France. I was a little French boy, and although when I used to go to Cornwall, like it was so cool because they had a lot more arcades, especially because it was coastal. So there was a ton of arcades everywhere around Truro and Falmouth and Falmouth, Falmouth, and all these places. Like so, yeah, it was just a Newquay as well. I used to go to Newquay a lot, so that was just that cool to see those arcades. But I'd July and August, I'd also go sailing with my dad, and we'd stop around Brittany, like in different ports. So there was always either arcades or a few pubs or bars or cafes with at least one arcade machine in there. Just checking for bridges here. No, we're good. Cool. South Coast had some great arcades. Yeah, I think that's where I got to see Outrun first. Was somewhere in Cornwall, but I can't remember where. And I moved. I only moved to Ireland when I was 21, so I didn't get to experience Irish arcades. They might. I mean, there were still arcades when I moved here, but I hadn't gone into collecting yet. So that's 4. There's 2 more. No Sign of Terrible Fire. I'm making this for him. Grateful, ungrateful monster. Yeah, the fatted head. I've never seen. I know of LOLO, but I've never seen it. That was a very English program or British program. So I get people tell me about LOLO all the time, but they forget that obviously we didn't have LOLO in France. There you go. Hey Dale, how are you doing, dude? We're doing some non-arcade stuff today. I'm putting together a small Eurorack synthesizer for Terrible Fire. Partly because he sent me a ton of stuff that he made, and I made those, designed those myself. So it's kind of sort of returning the favor, as much as a favor this can be, because it's kind of a rotten present, Eurorack. So I'm making him a setup that hopefully will get him hooked, and then he'll want more. It's like I'm a drug dealer. I'm giving him a free sample. And I'm making him 6 modules, and I have a little box here to fit everything. And I want to test as well if it works. Before the end of the stream. But I was thinking about doing these more often. Need one of those Monkey Island paintings I made. Oh God, I don't paint anymore. Why do people ask me about stuff I don't do anymore? But he was asking me about those arcade board repairs earlier. Do I still make those videos? Yeah, I don't paint anymore. But that was cool actually when I used to paint a lot more, and even before I started YouTube or any YouTube channel, I spent about 6 years being a semi-professional painter artist, and I was doing well. I was in galleries nationally, and like 2 of the biggest commercial galleries in Ireland. Like I was doing well for myself, and it actually got me enough money to put a deposit to get this house mortgage. And then as soon as that happened, I was like, all right, I'm done. Dealing with galleries was always tough, and I got on really well with them, but you end up, people don't realize you just end up chasing galleries for money. You're constantly chasing people for money, and it kind of takes the fun out of it. So I got out of it, and I also realized I wasn't playing any music, and I wasn't really spending that much time for myself. I was just cranking out paintings on on demand as well for commissions. So kind of overnight I stopped all of that, and then I picked it up again when I started the channels, because I started making kind of gaming like that paintings, and I was, I wasn't, all things considered, I wasn't selling them for much. Like, it was like $100 a piece, but it was actually all going into my pocket, because the thing is, when you have a painting in the gallery will at least the ones that I was in, at least take 50% of the sell price plus VAT, and that's their business model. So as an artist, you're not left with much, and then there's obviously taxes on top of that, your own VAT. So all in all, like, if you sell a painting for $100, you end up with just about $100 in your pocket. So I was like, fuck that! Like, I'm feeding entire families. Just I'm keeping a gallery in business, the state and all that, and like, literally, if I sold a painting for €400, I'd only get €100 in my pocket. So like, no. So I'm done. So I went to got back into music, started YouTube about the same time, and then kind of tried a few of those paintings, and they were great. So I thought, you know what, I'll sell them for the profit I used to make, and I was happy with that. But no, I had to stop. It takes a lot of time. That's the only thing. It takes a lot of time. Maybe on a stream, I suppose I could paint on a stream, but I probably would have to do it on Twitch. If I ever get back into painting, that's what I might do it on Twitch, because it's not really on theme with this channel or the music channel. Hey, Terrible Fire, we're doing your thing. I have 4 modules here. We'll test them. I have the box ready to go. I still have the filter and the envelope to make. Hey, Dopa, how are you doing? Parallax. I know you. I know who you are. How are you doing, dude? Do you have a favorite home game console? Vampire Killer, Castlevania for the MSX. No. Dune. No, Speedball 2. No, Treasure of Lushas actually is pretty good on the MSX. Oh yeah, Monkey Island is a good one too. I can go on. You're a vacuum robot. I don't even know what it is. Or is it one of those thing that goes through your living room? Those kind of circular little, or whatever, could be a square, but that just go around on their own. Otherwise, everything's fine. I wonder how many people got here because of the thumbnail clickbait. I couldn't have one of those robots. We've steps everywhere, so it'd defeat the purpose. We'll have to move the robot everywhere. Come on, yeah. Are these? Oh, didn't check. Yeah, 100 kilo ohms. 100 as well. 100 as well. 100 as well. You mentioned soldering here. So I was thinking, earlier on, I might do these regularly, or at least more regularly than before, which I never streamed on this channel. But just have like a sort of soldering Tuesday, and or Thursday, more soldering Thursdays, and just go through some of the builds that I'm doing, because I said, like, I do film some of it for the videos, but usually, like, it's like a 20-second segment, It's a few minutes of filming, like a couple of parts. You couldn't film the whole thing, and I don't like when there's too much soldering on videos. It's kind of, I find it breaks the rhythm, so I try not to include too many. Oh shoot! I think I have a broken leg on this guy. So I might do those because it's tedious, and I'd rather chat to people when I'm doing those. Might do them live. Oh no, Chucky's here. Solder guy. Solder guy. Yeah, this one has a broken leg. Let me remove it. By the way, if you want to join, anybody, same with you, Terrible Fire, obviously. The link is just above the chat there if you want to come in person and just say hi or talk for a bit or supervise. You know how it goes. Another reason I'm not doing arcade board repairs is I don't have a desolder pump anymore, so I need to buy a new one, which I might need to do at some point anyway. Yeah, this one is missing leg. I might keep that and reuse it somewhere else. Yeah, that's a magnifying and light lens. I still don't have my receive my I was going to say my microscope. Yeah, it's going to be a pain. No, there was some delay, and yeah, but I'm tracking it. It's on the way. No rush. It'll I'd say next few days, probably early next week. I'd say it'll be here. That's all right. It gets here when it gets here. Box can't actually clean it. What's right on the ground plane. You want the new toys you order? Yeah, I did actually. I ordered a spare light as well for it after what happened at Stephen's place with his light. So I have a spare light, and that arrived today. So I have a spare light, but I don't have the microscope for it. Bollocks is not cleaning it. Well, I don't have a desolder pump. Okay, we'll just try heating up the legs instead, but they're in a bad spot. Although I suppose one of the advantages is you can't quite see the mistakes here. free add solder. What's the syringe? Yeah, it's flux. It's fancy flux. Usually that does the trick, but it's flux that Chucky here sent me. So for people who don't know, Terrible Fire here is the guy that makes those cool accelerator card for the Amiga. And Chucky is the main builder. Is that a fair? One of the guys that build it, but you probably do more than anybody else. How many cards have you done that for, Stephen? And he's the guy that made the layout for the Re Amiga, which is the fuck. Why won't it? Aren't you the? Have you done? I thought you've done more boards than anybody else, though. Ah, okay. Good. I might be okay with 2 because I can at least. It was going so well. Stupid pot. It was going so well. It's not strictly needed. It's just to control voltage for an input, and I can't see you playing with those. But because you have nothing to input it in or to input into it, but it's, that's not the point. Is my game room heated? Yes, I have a small electric heater and thermostat in there, so it's more so it doesn't get damp, cold and damp. It's well insulated, and okay, we're in. Well, that was annoying. You've boards. Obviously, you don't want them to get. Need to check something here because I forget. Where is my? Is that ground? No. Hello. No, that's not good. Low batteries, maybe. Okay, so that's not ground. Where's that ground? Forget where's ground. Come on, work with me here. No. Okay, that's grand. Okay. Okay, good. No, the ground plate was exposed a bit. I might have to clean the flux of this one because it's a mess. Yeah, I never had games break because of 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 dampness, really, or cold. You know, same thing. But yeah, it's not like it's not heated like to 20 degrees, but it's like I keep it at least 15. It's more so just that, cold and damp, and electronics don't really mix well. Like, and then you start getting rust on your chips and your circuit. That's not good. I again on the channel I have a series of videos about me building that entire room, um, and finding the insulation. Insulated the whole thing with like 7 mil sheets that I salvaged from somebody who was throwing them. I've salvaged a lot of stuff for that room. That room didn't cost me much money, if I'm quite honest. I reused a lot of stuff, materials. But this one took a while. Also, yeah, the you coded the diagnostic ROM. That's true. Which, I mean, anybody is working on any sort of build for the Amiga now is using the diagram. It's so handy. What's the current revision? How long did it take you actually to make even the first revision of the diagram? Checking. Oh, the workshop in winter. Well, it gets cold, so it's the less time I spend there, the better. It's more. I don't want to. I do stuff in the workshop in winter, but not arcade. Um, Especially if I'm working on the restoration, I don't want the stuff to sit there all through winter, everything exposed, and so I have a couple of cabs in there, but I've just taken all the electrics and electronics in. I didn't think when I should really make the connector first, or put the connector first when I do these. But they're all different. Come on. Come on. I can't really drag solder. Anybody trying? No, I was looking if anybody was trying to come in. Here, I can't really do much drag solder on this unit because it's so awkward. I should have put this connector before. So filter in. Envelope. So this has, they were all 100K pots, but this one has two. Okay, we've two 1 mega and one 100K. Oh, I can certainly drag solder. Is just These are awkward because they're like this component, like this caps here. Actually, in this one, I will put the because the angle will make it hard afterwards. Should have done that for the other ones as well. Do you want to come in, Chucky, by the way? Like I said, there's a link at the top of the chat. You know how it works. You know how it works. You've joined some of the live streams on Terrible Fires. So here, yeah, I can drag solder. That works. Half. But, you know. But here, there's two caps. I can't quite get the angle right. So already annoying me. Oh, you have school tomorrow. Yeah, I have Fridays off now for the rest of the year. I had about 12 days left, holidays left to take, and Fiona didn't have any days left, so I thought, don't really want to go anywhere with that, with that Fiona. So I thought I would just take, instead of taking a week and just arsing about, I thought I'd take Friday off and actually be more productive. And I've actually worked on a lot of music and stuff last couple of Fridays. Cool. You've been working overtime all days in 2 weeks to get time off back, or to get money back, or just because you had to? So no work this weekend. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, enjoy no work this weekend. You flexi hours to take out. Fair enough. I was thinking over the holiday period, actually advance on that game I was working on, that R-Type clone. I stopped when there was all that kind of messing around at the time this summer with Unity, because I use Unity for the engine, and I just wasn't sure what was going to happen next. So I kind of stopped, and then obviously got distracted with other stuff, so I haven't picked it up back. But yeah, I'll keep working on it. Your trip to Glasgow was all flex. Oh, right. So you were you technically working? Were you technically at work when you were helping yourself with a 17th serving of, was it vodka or gin? To the bridge? No. Yeah, I took some of those days off I had for Glasgow. Obviously, it was handy. But I've been doing that a lot last few years. So essentially, with my work, I can work gin. It's gin. That's right. Don't say the word, but yeah, it's that gin. With my work, I can work abroad 6 weeks a year. So this year we tried to work from St. Malo. We've my granny's house there, so I worked from there, and that was great. That was actually great, and that worked out well for us. So we'll do that again. But essentially, I was 3 or 4 weeks abroad. Technically, well, working from abroad, but it was still kind of abroad, so it kind of felt like a holiday. So I feel like I've had more holiday time this year than I ever had before, and I still had 12 days to take. And 1 mega home. And that should be the last of our 250. 1 mega home. You work from, oh yeah, so you can work from anywhere. That's handy. We just have 6, like for insurance purposes, our work wouldn't let us work 6 weeks over in France, and for tax purposes as well. But technically, I don't see why not. But yeah, so we just have 6 weeks we can take. But I mean, 6 weeks is plenty to be away from your home, plus holiday time. And my job actually allows me to also purchase holidays. It's obviously taken off my salary, but we can take a maximum of 10 extra days holidays that we can purchase from our salary. So I take 10 extra days. So I have quite a lot of time off as it is. So the days working from France did feel like a holiday as well. So I was like, I don't think I need to go anywhere else this year. Plus, Fiona had taken all her days off. Next year it'll be interesting because she's retiring, so we might be able to spend a bit more time over in France and spend more time visiting the family there and just enjoying the place as well. You have one. His real office is in Gothenburg. 3-hour drive from here. Okay, so you have a real office. So yeah, fair enough. Yeah. All right, I think it's time to do some testing. So we're gonna first. Let me configure camera control and zoom out. All right, that's one. So I suppose I need to disconnect all of this first. Oh, flux, you get everywhere. Do I have an extractor fan going for the fumes? No, I never. I don't really do that much soldering to justify an extractor fan. I have a little kind of 12-volt computer fan. Just push your stuff away, but not that much. One module out. So these are real module. Will I use that? No, I can't use that on that. We might have a problem with with cables, with ribbon cables. Do I have enough ribbon cables? I have long ones. I suppose, yeah, I think I have 3 or 4 here. 3. So the power requirements of these modules is, for sound, obviously, 12 and minus 12 and 5 volt. For standard electronics. People always think Eurorack is analog. And I think people always assume a lot of synthesizer are analogs, because a lot of the old vintage synthesizers were indeed analogs, but very often, more often than not, they're actually very much digital. You can reuse one. So we'll start them in order. We want to see if we get a sound first. So we'll put them in order. It's going to be tricky to. Can I relocate this camera? There you go. Yeah, it's going to work like that. So the VCO is the thing that actually makes the sound. So we're going to use this first. Yeah, but if I do that, I can't see my screens. And then let's see me. Come on, you stupid. That doesn't really work, does it? Maybe like that. Yeah, but I can't see. VCO goes in. Rob's had in flux. Time from some solder hub again. See, I knew Vampire, you'd like that title. Yeah, I knew you had the right sensitivities to appreciate the focus, camera focus. Are we out of focus? Actually, I don't like the light this is making. We'll do this. And can I use this? I have another light. You never have enough light for these. Bollocks. All right, that's all right. Does that work? That's better than it was, isn't it? Or is it? Oh yeah, but now the camera's out of focus. Oh, the joys. See, it's a webcam, so it doesn't really have it. I turn off the autofocus of the webcam, otherwise it'll refocus every time I have my hands in front of it and that kind of stuff. Hey, Joseph Phillips, how are you doing? You just joined from Sydney. That's awesome. I love hearing where people are from, or where they're logging in from. Yeah, the box. Yeah, I think that's the most in focus. I can get the box now. All right. So the VCO is the thing that actually makes a sound. I was actually removing those things here. So we're gonna test them first individually and see if they work, and then move on to the next one. So there's no point putting them all back in if we need to remove one at any point because there's a bridge somewhere. One of them isn't working. So if I did everything right, yes. Also, I never thought of that. Power cable. That's the wrong one. Okay, I don't have a power cable here. I have plenty of them in the shed, so I'm going to run outside to the shed. So just talk amongst yourselves, and just if anybody comes in, just tell them I'm coming back, and I'll get a drink. Someone change the screensaver. Well, considering the thumbnail, now if nothing explodes and I did everything correctly. Okay. It's working. Fortunately, this box doesn't have an on-off switch, so you can't have to do it at the main. I might plug this over there. It's going to be kind of annoying. Otherwise, yeah, that's going to work better. So we can put the VCO here. So the VCO, like you said, the Vampire is the voltage controlled oscillator. So it's an oscillator module that you can feed voltage into to control the pitch. That's the idea. And the Eurorack standard is 1 octave per volt. So as you increase in voltage, you increase the note, and every extra volt added, you increase the sound by 1 octave. I can also hear, I'm using the tuning pots here, so you can change that to actually set the actual tuning of the module. And this is a fine tuning here. So for coarse tuning and a fine tuning. So because this is actually analog, well, except for the op amps. Are op amps analog? But the sound is actually done with transistors and things like that. What was I going to say? So yeah, you can actually tune it because it's analog. It's not set to any specific note, so you need to tune it. And also, because it is analog, the transistors, as they heat up, their behavior will change. So it's actually a set of 2 transistors that I have put on their like shrink wrap, so they react against each other. So they're not as affected by temperatures. But as the module is on for a longer period of time, as it is now, it will change in pitch until it's exactly at the right temperature. That's the trade-off with analog synthesizers. All right, let me catch up with So the digital ID, Edwin Harrigan, was agreed upon at the EU thing in the gig. What do you guys think about that? Personally, think it's a takeover. What is digital ID? We already have digital ID in Norway now, but the EU will put money in it. Not pleased. Oh, I'm assuming then it's like a personal ID kind of stuff. I haven't followed, as you can tell. I'm not really bothered by stuff like that, if I'm fully honest. I tend to think it's not a bad thing to have some accountability for stuff. I can see why people would not be pleased about it. What next? I think. So there's always debate whether you put a filter, you send your VCO to a filter and then send the filter to your envelope and amplifier, or whether you sort out the VCO with your envelope and amplifier and then apply a filter afterwards. The good thing with Eurorack is it doesn't really matter because we always connect stuff with cables, so it doesn't matter whether it's here, but it's just more logical for logical sense. Me, personally, I tend to like an envelope next, but in this case, because I wasn't sure, so the idea was to have envelope, VCA amplifier. So the VCA voltage control amplifier takes the control voltage from the envelope, which shapes the actual, it creates an envelope shape, and the VCA will amplify the VCO by that shape, using that shape. So that's how you can create plucky sound or long kind of stringy sound and that kind of stuff. And then a VCF, so a filter, the thing that makes it go wow, 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 wow. And then I thought at the end I'd put a mixer, because always you need a way to mix signals coming in, and you'll see why in a minute. But I wasn't sure what to add as a 6 module, whether I should add a second VCO or a noise module. And I'm going to add a noise module because it'll allow Stephen to actually craft sort of grittier sounds. And here, no, there's no power in there. So I think next I'm going to put the noise module. Because very often you need to send the combined noise module and VCO to the mixer. I'll show you all that afterwards. So I think noise module, and then so we'll have stuff going across like that. That's the only thing. So maybe I have my mixer here in the middle, and then envelope, VCA, and VCF. Yeah, I think that's going to be the way. So we're going to test the noise module next. This was a new channel for you. Hey, Jonas, you mean this channel here? You didn't know about my my DIY arcade repair and sound and Amiga and MSX channel. So noise generates a white noise or a pink noise or a blue noise, and there's differences to these. So let's test that this works. Ouch. That's white noise. It's pink noise, blue noise. It all works fine. I know for you there's not much of a difference. Is the internal is that super high? Should I lower this a bit? But with sounds like that, noise is extremely handy because it generates a few stuff. First, it generates a random pattern that you can use then as CV control to control something else. So if you have something like which I don't have and I plan to make, but a quantizer, for example, it will use that CV voltage, to actually create just random notes pitched like in tune. The other thing you can make is stuff like, why aren't you aligned? Stuff like percussive sounds. Well, I'll be damned. Yeah, no, that works. Percussive sounds. I thought that didn't align, but it should align at least on one side. Yeah. I'm actually going to move you over here instead. What was I going to say? Percussive sounds. So stuff like hi-hat, crash, cymbals, snares, kind of swelling, sort of white noise, which is always cool in EDM. Come align with the hole here. Yeah, that's right. Interesting. Let's give it a little bit of give just in case we run into issues later on. So let's just try that again. Yeah, that's better. You're back. Oh, you're back, sir. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Hey.
There he is. So I'm working on making your life misery for the next year.
Even more so than normal, yeah.
Yeah, as you get slowly addicted to your racks. Well, it's cool to actually be able to send you something I made for a change.
Yeah. I've had a reasonably good week. I've stopped looking at the 4060 for a week because it's been
I noticed that, yeah. I know you were working on something else.
A couple of other things. One thing I've been working on, let me unplug it and I'll...
32?
32, yeah. It's done.
Savage. So that adds what? And like you said, FPU?
Just the FPU, yeah. There's a couple of It also lets you run the CPU at half speed for cheaper CPUs. So if you wanted to do a really, really cheap version of the board, it's got two jumpers that it actually works dynamically on the fly. You can plug the jumper in and it jumps up to 50 megahertz, or pull the jumper out, it jumps to 50, plug the jumper back in and it jumps to 25. But the FPU is not really that important. But the idea was to give us that clock switching thing, which means you can use the really cheap 10 quid CPUs on. So you can make one of these for, I don't know what they go for, but 150 to 200 euros now. You could make one for between 80 and 100 euros.
Until the prices hike up because you made a board using them.
It's a never-ending fight against trying to get the cheaper stuff. I've also got the 2040 actually hooked up like some kind of Frankenstein lab experiment. So it's running. So yeah, that's me. I've been off all week. I've just taken a week off. I've had 5 days to burn. So I've just been.
Oh, were you off?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Ah, yeah. Well, yeah, you might as well then.
I found myself on Monday going, you know, it's been sitting in a case on my other, the 3 desks I have here. It's been sitting on a desk on one of those desks, just staring at me for so long. I thought the other night I just had a big pile of patch wires to put on here.
Oh, the 1232.
Yeah, the 1232.
I didn't actually know you were working on that.
We were at revision. We might have had too many beers.
Why does every story starts with we were at revision? We probably had too many beers. So far, every story I've heard of him.
Yeah. Hoffman wasn't involved in this story, to be fair. And I just thought, Chucky and I were just having a chat. We're just pissed. And he goes, well, if you could make, do one with the FPU and make it so that it can use the cheaper CPUs that are out there. Because at the moment, this needs the one that you have needs a 50 megahertz CPU, or it won't work. So,
oh, I see. Yeah,
and that has made the ones that are capable of 50 megahertz become quite expensive, and also has motivated people to do reprint 33 megahertz ones as 50.
Okay.
So we were at revision. It was Sunday. There was a rave going on. It was possibly the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life. So I made a few mistakes that you do when you're designing the board in the middle of a rave. But yeah, 6 patch wires and it's working. So
the mixer module is not quite working for some reason. Let me.
Might had too many beers from Chucky. Yeah, I think we definitely did have too many beers. Why do I feel like this is you're building something to torment me? It's like
oh, you don't need to feel like I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Jesus.
I don't know how much reflow. I'm not sure what's going on there, but this one.
Yeah, so I've been trying to clear the decks here, basically, and just leave myself the more long-term projects and clear the ones I could get by focusing on it for a day or two.
Have you a few more like that, or was that the last one before?
The 2040 is sitting there. I really need to do something with there's a few things that needed doing on the TFMSX as well. There's just a never-ending pile of bugs. I got some footage of one of the bugs I found on the 1232 today. It only affects machines with masked ROMs if you've got an EEPROM. It's fine if you've got a masked ROM, like an original ROM.
In what? Sorry, I wasn't in the TFMSX.
Yeah, well, the bug is it acknowledges the cycle too quickly, and the masked ROMs don't respond that fast. The EPROMs do. So, yeah, like I can see it on the logic analyzer. And the other thing I had to do was get my logic analyzer all sorted out because they all
Oh,
started.
that's right. Yeah,
Everything started blowing up when Chucky was here.
yeah. Remember that?
He literally blew up my my microscope ring light.
He does that, yeah. But let me try again. Just want to double check stuff. Like what the mixer part was working, but the volumes. That might be a short here. By the way, are you doing a new another Fishwives anytime soon?
Yeah, I wanted to do fishwives, but I'm up and out Saturday morning at 7:00,
Yeah.
so not Saturday. Maybe not Saturday, not Friday night, but maybe Saturday night.
Yeah,
We could do that. It's been too long, but we've had so much going on.
I mean, we've
one thing
real
and
life
another.
Fishwives, I suppose. Yeah.
And we had a live. Basically, we had fishwives in the flesh here. So
Yeah. So it might have been a small short between those two as well.
feel free to do fishwives on your channel.
Well, I was doing this like I don't want to stream. I think once a week as well is enough if I do these. But if I don't do one of these, yeah, we might do a fishwife on this channel. If but I was thinking once a week, like streaming some live. Yeah, this one might be short, isn't it? Jeez. Don't think it is, but if I'm not working on yeah, no, I was thinking maybe doing some one of these streams here regularly because it's easier to. It's not as productive, but it's a lot easier to do tedious stuff like that if you're talking to people at the same time.
I don't think I've done it apart from the video that you and Chucky did together. I don't think I've done a video on my channel since July or August.
By the way, you might want to do one or at least release an update on Patreon. Because after a while, if you don't post any updates, they'll actually lock your account until you post again.
I'm getting that $5 a month or something.
It's more the inconvenience of things, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Of having to reopen it.
I'm
not sure what's involved.
I've been doing the updates through Discord, to be fair, when I've had anything. So
yeah, the Patreon would want stuff anyway. I'm just saying.
Fair enough. Noted.
That's really odd. I mean, this guy. That's working. Only the switch isn't. And that acts like a switch. Oh, yeah, okay, that works. But interesting, the offs. Okay.
We can't hear that. Is there a sound? Can you hear a sound through your headphones?
Can you not hear it?
No.
Okay, let me check.
That's odd, because I'd have thought.
Monitor and output. So is nobody hearing anything?
I think I can hear Malo scratching under the desk, but that's about it.
But no. No. Still nothing.
I feel like I'm going to be Dougal and go on, off, on, off, on, off.
Still nothing.
No. Can't hear a tone at all. Is it like some sort of synth tone? It's very
How
weird.
about now? No.
No.
Well, bonjour.
Sacre member.
That's annoying. I had it rigged and everything, especially for.
Oh, don't just take my word for it, but I can't hear a thing.
Yeah, no, but.
Are you playing Britney Spears? What?
Yeah, I have this set as an audio source. Let me just.
I'll have a look at that.
It's working, but I have a problem with the switches. Let me just check the voltages. OBS screw things up. Never happened before. No, never happens before. I don't.
So this is the one I've been looking at today. It's for the Amiga 2000. I think from memory, I was sick with COVID last year. Designed it while I was down with COVID and ordered it. It arrived, stuck it in a drawer, haven't looked at it. But when Chucky came over, he brought a case for the 2000. So I put it all together, and then I was like, well, you know what? Now that I've got a case.
I thought you didn't want to touch the 2000, like the 6000, the 600.
No, I'm not touching the 600. No, 2000 is fine though. 600,
Is it?
no. Well,
is it fine?
Relatively.
Is it fine? Oh, Chucky, I was cursing your name all week. By the way, I started working on that 4000 or 3000 Amiga, and I made the mistake of watching Gadget UK's repair video on it, and realized that so many of these chips are hard to obtain. I was like, for fuck's sake! I know you warned me about the DMAC, but it looks like a lot of them are.
Is it the Agnes as well? The DMAC and the Agnes?
Yeah. Anyway, it'll make. We'll see. We'll get as far as we can. I don't want to say we. I mean me. Like.
Oh, Chucky's got a 4060 PCB as well. Oh, I didn't realize he did. I actually, yeah, now I remember. I sent it to Chucky, and to avoid customs, what I do is I label it as a beer mat. Oh, and have you shown people these?
TF666. I haven't. I have them on the shop now. Yeah. MSX beer mats. I won't make a video on those. It's so silly.
Eric left his, but I think.
Oh, really?
Chucky took his. So Eric left his, so I have two.
Well, Chucky's a sucker for anything MSX anyway. So
yeah, he's an MSX fiend nowadays.
Fiend.
Well,
Interesting.
it's a board that makes Finnish people talk, apparently.
So this little board is causing me a little bit of a trouble.
So there you go. Chucky sourced you an Agnes and an Amber.
I didn't mean like that, Chucky. I'm sorry. No, I'm sure I can find.
He'll just want beer for it. He'll just want beer for it.
No, I'll pay for him, but it's more keep your stock. It was more. I'll find stuff, Like, don't deprive yourself of stock you have for building these.
Chucky does the following. He will say to someone, "You can either give me a board and X amount of money, or give me two boards, and I'll give you a new version back." So over the years, Chucky is basically the dealer. He has everything.
Chucky, do you want me to build your Eurorack setup?
Run, Dougal, run quite fast.
Run quite fast. It's a great flux, but it leaves such a mess.
Yeah, my strategy for this is hot water, soap, and a scrubbing brush.
Well, you can do that on yours.
Soft bristles, but yeah.
Yeah, I have toothbrush and just IPA, but yeah.
IPA doesn't seem to shift it. It just moves it around. The hot
water.
It
dissolves it and moves it around. Yeah, I run them under water afterwards. But for stuff that has like pots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And jack connectors, it's
Well, you could clean it. You could do the initial clean before the pots, and then put the pots on after.
I'll let you do that on yours when you.
The other thing is, I find if you do the dishwasher thing, the heat from the dishwasher tends to dry it.
Actually, yeah, that's true. People always recoil when I tell them I put stuff in the dishwasher.
I'd put CRT chassis in the dishwasher, and if they're fine, everything's fine.
Well, you switched them off before, like.
Yeah. I'm just imagining what would happen if you didn't.
Okay, that's working.
It's basically a lightning generator.
So I'm really annoyed you can't hear anything.
Nothing.
Because I can see the return here. So let me see if I can do anything here. Property, because that's going. What if I turn this off?
You just put it through a speaker and your microphone will pick it up. Maybe at least we'd hear it.
Don't have speaker. Make this work at all.
Has Kent joined one of your streams yet?
No, he's streaming tonight, actually.
Okay.
Power on.
Nope. See, I can hear my voice double because that mic is now picking up. Oh, this is so weird.
We can't hear you double. You're just sounding normal.
That's not good either.
Bluetooth mode. Bluetooth connected.
I don't have external speakers that work on their own. Everything is USB nowadays. It's so hard to. Okay, the line isn't working.
I was just watching a bit of TV with Fiona there, and there was a whole bunch of. It was like a late '90s program, and there was a whole bunch of CRTs, and I recognized that they'd reused the CRTs from one set in another set, a completely different set. I was like, "Oh, that's the same CRTs from the other set." And Fiona's like, "You're such a fucking CRT nerd."
Nerd. Let me restart this. This guy. So you can use these mics. I have one of these mics, and you can actually use them as an audio interface. Connect.
Gosh, it's like NASA.
They're handy for recording samples outside, outdoors.
All right.
But now, why isn't it?
So I'm respinning this. I'll be doing a new version of this tomorrow and giving out gerbers. Do you want a couple of gerbers? Or will I just get Chucky to send you a PCB?
Chucky sent me a lot of stuff already. I don't know. No, I can. Yeah, I need to place an order.
No,
anyway.
This isn't out of kindness. let's be brutally honest here. It's not out of kindness.
There's a segment I started editing so this is annoying me. That's not going to work. I started editing the video for the Amiga 3000, and as I'm soldering stuff and all that, it kind of happened like that. But I have a segment where it goes, if you think that Chucky and Terrible Fire are your friends, they're not. They're just evil. They're evil people.
We're bad.
So there's no way I can make you hear what's coming out of here.
Yeah, so Edwin's asking about the okay to wash stuff in the dishwasher. What I do when I do something in the dishwasher is though I make sure the rinse aid is topped off, because you want the rinse aid to help the water. It's hydrophobic. It stops the water clinging to the PCB. So it gets everything clean without getting water droplets stuck in it.
I wouldn't mind, but I have a second audio interface that works. But I brought it to France and left it there with me this year. So I need to buy a new one for this setup.
Oh, was that the Focusrite?
No, it was an old Mojo one. They don't make them anymore, actually. But it was handy, but it was only 44 kilohertz. It's fine. Yeah, no, it's fine for streaming and that kind of stuff. But when you do recordings, especially for like sharing onto, I was doing stuff for commissions and that kind of stuff. They want 48 kilohertz sample rate. Right. Well, that's working. You just have to take my word for it. I'm just really disappointed you couldn't hear anything. But it works. So right now you have the white noise VCO and the mixer. Come on, yeah. Anyway, the only problem, there's no jack or mic input on these laptops anymore as well, so I can't really send the thing direct. And do I have any sort of cable?
You're right enough. My desktop PC has mic ins, but my laptops don't.
Yeah. Yeah. To be fair, I've never really used the mic in on the laptop PC and desktop PC or a laptop PC, but I actually thought of it earlier and it wasn't working, so that's why I used this. But I can see it in the monitor. Let me try again. I can see it coming up in the audio monitor. I might need to restart. So I'm streaming with StreamYard, so I might need to restart the OBS. So we'll stay here live with. No, you're not picking up my input.
So, Chucky, my laptop has a 3.5mm jack, but it's a headphone out. It's not a headphone in.
Input on. Okay. So bear with me. I'm gonna exit out of.
Will I need to rejoin? Or
No. The StreamYard will stay on, so the stream won't.
Also, I'm going to be here by myself going. Ah, Jesus. Chucky, why aren't you on the stream? We could be taking the piss out of him so bad right now.
Forgot to add it as a source. No, it's I can see it there, but let me.
Oh, I heard something. I heard it. No. It's no use, Ted. You'll never get it quite right.
You'll never get it quite right. No, I'm gonna have to give up on that idea of having you listen to it. Okay.
Have you been like commenting on the sound for the last hour and a half before I joined? Nobody actually told you that it wasn't.
Yeah.
Nobody could hear it. Yeah.
You could hear me all the time, even with OBS off. Yeah, but that's because my odd. That's because I'm not using my audio from.
Oh. Here we go. There we go. But it's something silly. I think it only makes more sense this way.
So it's a trade-off of using StreamYard. My audio can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, my audio can only come from StreamYard, so not from OBS. And so I can't add an extra source of audio from StreamYard.
So you need to do some sort of mixing before you send it to StreamYard?
So I am doing that normally with OBS, but because and I said OBS is a virtual camera, but it's not sending audio signal. My audio is only picked up from StreamYard.
Right. Okay.
Not connect only one mic.
So what you need is
Sorry
a
about that.
very
folks.
simple. You need to go down to the dump and look for someone's chucking out some old PC speakers and fire it up. But
I need a small 4-track mixer that's also an audio interface.
or just put a tiny speaker on the top of that thing while you're working on it.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's why. Sorry about that, folks. That was really tedious. Now, I never claimed those streams were actually interesting, to be honest. Get Tech Refugee, how are you doing? Thanks for joining, dude. Yeah. So anyway, you could hear the sound. So you have the VCO, and we can add the white noise from the white noise generator. So next, I'm going to try the envelope. Is that going to work on its own? We can't do much with the envelope, so we need the VCA as well with it. Yeah. So let me double check those. Yeah, I think we're okay here. I essentially had a little bit of a solid bridge on those guys. Anyway. I need more cables. So, 4060 is still causing you trouble?
I think it's basically there was a couple of things. First thing was there was an actual mistake in the board that myself and Jamie figured out, but we're now fighting the software tools. If I sat and build 30 builds, one of them works. Then I change something and I'm 30 builds until I get another one. It's really frustrating. So it's not very. I think I've sent you videos where or clips where I've had it working.
Yeah.
And then I rebuild it and it doesn't work again. Or change anything. It's just not a very stable tool chain. So I'm thinking of dumping that particular chip, not because the chip's bad, but because the tools for it are bad.
So what's your option then?
I mean, there's about six or seven options for the tools for the chips. But the ICE 40 toolchain, it's an open source toolchain, and the guys are not really particularly. They're focused on making it free, open source, and transparent and maintainable, rather than making it actually work. You know?
Hoping somebody else will iron out stuff for you. For them.
I don't think so. If you're doing stuff in the 20 megahertz range, it's fine. If you're doing stuff mixed 200, 100 megahertz, it's not fine. You know. And I don't mind that it isn't going to work, but there's no way. I haven't found a way to tell by analyzing the build results whether it's going to work or not yet. So if I had to do 30 builds, 40 builds until it went, yeah, that one's going to work, I would be fine. But I haven't found a way of doing that programmatically without sitting and trying 30 builds.
Let me try this.
This looks like something out of Back to the Future. Oh, there's blinking lights on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what you need as a final thing in the chain is an LED VU meter.
I did think about that. So you can actually get simple stuff like from AliExpress that will do that for you.
Fair play. What, Euro racks, or just buy the chip and
just buy the little modules, but then it'll be a matter of just adapting a Eurorack panel that will actually fit onto this.
okay, sort of Arduino style.
It's just a bit of waste of power for Eurorack. So am I doing this? Yeah.
Right, Chucky. Might have to get you to build a 2040 in the next week. See how we get on. $12.32 is ship. That's Chucky's latest troll with me. He just asks, ship, ship, ship.
Don't have a CV keyboard. I'll test that tomorrow. But essentially, I have the envelope generator set on a loop, so it'll regenerate that envelope every time it triggers. What this translates into in terms of sound. Let me just change the audio. So tedious.
That's like a video game, a racing game there. Sounds like a Hoffman track.
Anyway, that's enough. The PCA is working. I think there's a couple of bridges on the envelope. So I'll fix that. The last one will be the filter. So let me just swear it sounds a lot better once you plug it into a keyboard. But well, you've heard the stuff I can do with those.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, let's just, so this is what happened when you talk and solder at the same time.
And you haven't got your microscope yet.
Yeah, it's taking its time to arrive. It's on the way.
That's nearly a month since you ordered it.
Kind of. It is coming from AliExpress. It is China, and it's hit and miss with China as well.
And it's basically a forklift truck will drop it off in you at the end of your drive. It's that heavy.
Yeah, I have at this stage the postman knows me. Like it's like initially because it's a small community where I live, so everybody knows everybody. The postman's like, "What are you ordering?" Like, this kind of weird packages and instruments, and it's like, "What are you doing there?" So I had to show him actually the setup because I do meet him. He's retired now, but before that he was I go to these kind of flute lessons every Tuesdays. Kind of we just learn new tunes on Irish music tunes, and
Is that up the road by the petrol station there?
so just further than that, it's on the way to the main Galway road.
Yeah.
And so we every Tuesday there's a lesson, and we just essentially learn new tunes on our. So the goal is to not bring your first instrument, so you bring your second or third instrument kind of thing. So I bring the flute there and just learn tunes on that. But my postman is learning the flute as well, or former postman. So I'd see him there and he'd be going, "What did you get this week? Like I dropped that thing. What was that?" So you nosy fuck. Love you, that.
Communities. Everybody. I mean, I grew up in one. It's everybody knows your business.
But the best part is his children one day showed him a video of this guy who was playing the banjo and lived in Ireland and was doing all these Irish music tunes, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that's Ollie. I brought him that instrument." And you're like, "What?"
That's the one thing I don't miss from the islands is everybody knowing your business.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on here. Well, I mean, I grew up with that as well. I grew up in a very small community in France, and it was like that as well. I do enjoy it though because it's very tight. Like, if anything happens, if any unusual activity around my house, like we'll get notified right away, even if we're abroad or something like that. Like,
fair play.
There's that side to it. So we'll try that again. I think we just had a few shorts. First, I want to try it on my own.
The island stuff is so nosy that my mum will phone me and say, "I heard you were in this place in Glasgow," or "I heard you were there." Somebody sees me, it gets back to her like smoke signals instantly. We can't hear that, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Game Take Refuge. Ollie went for the scope. He went for something. I think it's a black version of the Amtech scope, but I don't remember exactly. Basically, Chucky and I got him drunk and made him buy a scope. That really does sound like a Hoffman.
Last thing we need is the filter, and I promise we're done. But you'll have essentially a starter kit Eurorack module. If you had to buy that with, I was going to say real modules, but actual kind of professional, module, you'd be looking at 150 at least, or 180 per module here. Another 100 for the box. You know, it mounts up quickly. So that's why I wanted to build those myself first. And now the whole kit is essentially, the whole setup is essentially what you'll pay for one module.
Oh, Dave Pooh is in the chat, apparently. He may be in the staging.
Yeah. Hey, dude, how are you doing?
There you are. Very good.
There you are. So, that's our filter. Let's see if that filter works.
It won't work.
I have no idea what you're building.
It's a
synth.
synthesizer. Yeah.
Well, that much I got. I
It-
thought I joined a rave at one point.
It's a modular synth, so essentially you can patch stuff into other stuff and just have it's called modular. So everything.
What was the
is-
one you just soldered, though? I didn't know what you were soldering. Which module did you just solder?
Just there, the envelope. I was just fixing
right.
some mistakes I made, but
Not putting chips on
right.
backwards like last time.
oh man,
That's what I joined in last time. I was like, what's going on? It's like chips are on backwards.
Was that when you were doing the 1230? Or was that
What was
different?
that? I can't remember.
that was the the carts.
Oh, the card. Arek's working on those, on the new version of those. So.
It's working, but it's not working as it. What the fuck am I doing? Sorry, you can't hear that. Filter should never change the the pitch of a. Like even with those, I made them sort of foolproof to build, and even that,
Challenge accepted.
yeah, I didn't even take my. Oh, that's the one I had to redo like a few times. Maybe that'll explain that, but I think I have a few bridges on the.
Is it
Oh,
totally
yeah.
screwed?
No. It just.
We couldn't hear that though. Did it make some crazy noise?
Yeah, so the filter should just change the tone of the sound, but here it changes the pitch for some
Bonus.
unexplainable reason. And I need to clean this this one.
And that's when you've just built now.
Yeah. Which is not a great idea for a stream, really. Like putting yourself under pressure.
Building really complicated stuff on a string.
It's not that complex. It's not a terrible fire card, but you can
That's
still
true.
make mistakes.
Anything's complex once you've screwed it up.
Let me just see this again. Let's go. Oh, there you go. I'm just catching up with the chat for now. Oh, Chucky's gone to bed. Or is this?
Yeah, he can't take the pace.
Yeah, he's old.
He
He's an
is.
old man. You know, gotta be nice to him sometimes.
I thought that was really funny. The two of you in my basement, on my channel, building a board. Rob comes in and asks if you wanted to play football. I was like, what's going on?
He's found it. What have you found?
Well, I found something, of a pin that's not soldered, but why that would change the pitch, I do not know.
Well, what was the point in putting the pin there if you weren't going to solder it?
See, no.
You need to use the proper amount of flux.
The correct amount of flux is absolutely tons of it.
Yep.
Yeah, but I wonder, did I mess up this one though? See, that's CV in. It shouldn't affect the audio in. They're not tied. Anyway.
And just to be clear, are you sure you were, when you said it changed the pitch, it was definitely that module that did it? It wasn't one of the other ones?
Oh yeah, yeah, it was changing it when I was changing the cutoff of the filter. There's only one way you should be able to change the pitch is here on the VCO. It's the tuning, the pitch tuning pots. Once I get that microscope, everything will go smoothly. Right?
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Have you ordered a cheap eBay microscope?
No,
No, it's a cheap AliExpress microscope.
Oh, right.
it's not a cheap microscope. It's
No,
it's about a £300 microscope.
Oh, well, that's not cheap. I was thinking like 10 quid.
no.
It's,
10 quid off eBay.
If you've seen the sort of setups that myself, Chucky, and Lewis Rossman have, it's something like that. It's the big stands, armscope, stereoscopic microscope, trinocular lens, and the camera. I think came with yours. Or
Yeah.
it was, yeah.
So do you do all your soldering under the microscope then? You don't do it by eye anymore?
I don't have the eyes. Although I had my eyes tested last week and they were fine, but just low lighting, close up stuff, I'm now needing these. So I've been using microscopes. So once you start using a microscope, you realize
There's no going back.
there's no going back.
Like I tried yours, like I resisted the microscope for years, and I tried yours at your place, Stephen, and I was like, all right. I think I was buying
Oh,
one.
yeah. I saw that on the
later
video.
on.
I remember now. I did watch a few minutes of that. Yeah, I saw you soldering on the microscope.
And yeah, it makes a huge difference, all right.
And it's funny that because if you do that kind of stuff on video, you know, for people watching the video, they're like, "Yeah, this looks easy. This is fine." And then you actually get it in real life, and you're like, "What? There's 300 solder pins on there that I couldn't even see."
Oh,
Stuff's
well,
tiny.
the stuff. I mean, you just zoom in as far as you need, and you just take your time because you'll spend a lot longer if you don't do it right.
Like now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I actually took apart just an old hard drive the other day just to see what was in it because it was broken. It's been sitting on my shelf for years. And I took the controller board off the back, and that has got some tiny parts on it. Just absolutely really small, like capacitors and stuff like that you're just like, wow.
So like that.
Yeah. Probably even smaller than that. Yeah, but a bit like that. But there was lots of them. And that's on it was a 1.5 terabyte Seagate drive or something. Yeah.
That's
Completely busted.
Circa 1999, that sort of.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I suppose they can't make them much smaller than that, the parts anymore, because you'll just never find them unless they start becoming silicon at that point, don't they?
Was it for a video, Dave?
No, I just took it apart because I just had it sitting around. I'm going to take this apart, see what's in it. They are very lovely inside hard drives. There's so much engineering in them. I took about 30 precision engineered screws out of it and everything. You know, it's just like, and it's a piece of junk because it doesn't work, but such a marvel of technology.
It's amazing because you went from that to SSDs and all that precision engineering isn't needed anymore, and the price went.
You know, and it's got like the platters like perfectly flat. There was 4 platters in there, and you know, it's just amazing bit of kit. But nowadays, it's it's old technology now.
To be fair, I don't even use spinning hard drives on retro anymore. It's all
no.
I think the only thing I have that's spinning hard drive in it is my logic analyzer.
And it's waiting to break.
It's been doing a good job of that without the hard disk getting involved so far, is all you'll see. Bunch of folk over to do some work using the logic analyzer last month, and the bloody logic analyzer died.
What's it need the hard drive for? Is that got the Has it got an OS on it or something?
Yeah, it's got an operating system. That one's not that complicated, but it also has all your settings get stored on the hard disk. It's actually got an X11 server, so it can connect to my Mac or to Windows and display up the screen here remotely, which is quite nice. But it's a very old scope. Now it's probably 1992, 1991, 92.
All right.
We're going to hear something.
Yeah, I got it. So I have it on the envelope on the loop. Just get a low sound, and I'm just going to increase the cutoff so you can hear. It's like a low pass filter, but if I increase the resonance, it's going to go into self resonance. So it's going to act like a sine wave, and it's going to make a pitch changing sound.
Yeah.
So that's normally when the resonance, but that was happening because of the cutoff earlier. But that's what a filter does. You can hear that. So just bear with me. Right. There's better, more musical ways to use a filter, but it's a good taste. How high the filter can go.
But you're doing functional testing.
Yeah, I'll fine tune all that tomorrow, and yeah, I'll send you the whole box then, ready to go. I can send you a few of these to get.
Chucky will send you a RE-CD32, a RE-600.
Fuck you.
But
for hours to build them.
Yeah,
you will get one of these. You'll definitely get one of these.
So the only thing, Steve, I know, like you probably won't use it that much. You'll probably mess with it. If you want to make some actual musical stuff, you need a keyboard that has CV out and gate out. And we can do a session together if you want once you get one.
Okay.
For now, you can mess with stuff. The cool thing with this setup is the envelope and filter will allow you to make like stuff like kick sound. If you want to get a kick for something else, it's a mono synth, so you only get one type of sound out of it. Or the noise will add a little bit of dirt to your VCO if you put it in a mixer. But with the noise, you can also make stuff like a snare, hi-hats, crash cymbals. So that's why I went with the noise and not the second VCO. Second VCO will give you, especially if you detune it slightly against the other one, it'll give you a wider sound, almost like I was going to say analog Juno type of sound, but it's just not as versatile. And I'll tune the filter. There's ways to tune it as well. I have a little tiny pot here that allows you to tune it. But there you go. At least it works.
Holy crap! I just looked up a MIDI to gate converter Eurorack. We won't be buying one of them. 110 quid.
Yeah, that's the cheaper. Look for a VCO. I don't know, any cheap VCO. See how much that is.
MIDI to CV interfaces. Yeah, it just seems to be like standard price for anything. It's like everything starts at £100 and they add the value.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I wanted to make those. Like I sell each module for 30 quid. It's like you get a whole setup like that for the price of one unit. I'm not trying to plug it here, but it's that was my idea. Like I wanted a Eurorack setup like the one I have here. This guy, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to pay going prices for.
No, I mean it's exactly the same thing with the terrible fire
that
stuff
you were doing anyway.
I wanted an 060 accelerator, and it was going to be £1,000. It's like, geez, I could probably build one for this and that.
So you did.
You know, yeah.
7 or 8 years later, I'm still building.
It's now $1,000 to buy the processor because of the card you built.
Yeah.
That worked better. There you go. Let me shift my camera.
Oh,
But
it's
yeah, so
sponsored
there you
by
go.
Colgate.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, dude.
There you go, Stephen. You something else to give you nightmares.
Plenty of things to give me nightmares.
They were real nightmares. I could just and
Fantasy,
waste hours and hours and hours just trying to get a basic sound out of it, because that's usually what happens. Like, it's more of a time sink. Like I did a few covers with just using the Eurorack before, but it's a lot of extra work. But it's fun. It's just fun trying to craft your sound and trying to kind of tailor it, and like get a nice kind of creamy, filtery type of sound with the Eurorack. It's just that cool.
Cool. I'm fading, guys. I think I'm going to head to bed.
Yeah, likewise. I think there was quite a. I don't know how long have I been streaming for.
4 hours.
2.5 hours.
4 hours. 2.5
You could have
hours.
built an
Yeah,
Amiga
that's right.
1200 in that time.
Oh God. God.
Hey, there's one. There we go. That's not a hand built one. That's a real one.
It's a Rev.
It's cheating. That's a real one.
It's a Rev 1 D1. I have a Rev 1A over there as well. I think I've got every revision that was released. And
But you
it's-
have to anyway for the boards. For your.
Are they that different, the revisions?
They slightly behave ever so slightly differently.
That's annoying.
For example, I have a
Well,
Rev 2 sitting there. I have a Rev 2, and it works perfectly with all my boards because that's the board I've been testing with since day one. And then I give it out to Chucky. He's like, "No, that's not working." Plug it into the equivalent version. I'm like, yeah, that's not working. That's so cool.
Why are they so different? Is that just the chips that are different? Though? It can't be the
No,
board, can it?
There's a little gal,
Timings.
there's a little programmable gal here, and they all have different programming on them.
Oh,
So they all actually act slightly differently.
That was the thing
what
when
you
I
think?
actually, when I made the Re-Amiga, I was like, I know I'm gonna mess up programming that gal, so I was like, I'll put a socket on it, just in case.
And fucked up. Oh no, or
No, the socket. I mean, that works well, and I didn't make a mistake on the programming the gal. Like, I didn't, because I was like, if I programmed the wrong one and it's soldered in, like, I'm like, I'm gonna throw the thing out the window at this stage.
yeah.
But the socket actually was in the way of one of the LS245s that are for the PCMCI slots. So
This guy right here.
yeah. So I had to change the tip to a very kind of super thin one, just to solder that last one pin that was causing me trouble.
I can't
So,
remember.
I think you did a pretty good job, though. You got it working.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. I mean, for somebody that didn't have any experience with SMD stuff, I was truly delighted that it worked. And it's here now. Like, somebody was joking, and I was joking with him, but it was like, and now it goes under the shelf or under the desk, never to be used again. But I'm using it. I'd like to have it in the background if I'm doing stuff here on this desk, just running demos, or that's what we do with our Amigas. We just run demos and game intros, really.
You're not going to use it for your internet banking or anything like
No.
that. It's not your daily driver anymore, is it?
No.
But I mean, we had one up on the big screen here doing. I haven't actually taken it down yet, but we had one up on the big screen here playing demos, and we had a couple of them set up side by side here, doing. What was the game? Stunt Car Racer, and we put Super Skid Marks, and
Yeah.
the 8-player Super Skid Marks. That's super confusing across 2 screens. There was
that was fun, but to be honest, like, most of the stuff we did with our Amigas was It's just configure stuff, run a few demos.
Yeah.
That's what
Most-
is it, you mean back in the day, or you mean now?
Oh,
Now
That's all we did.
and back in the day too.
Basically, it's an excuse for beer. Really, that's
Hmm.
what it is.
All right, fellas.
Yeah, I'm going to call it a night
You
as
have
well.
school tomorrow. I'm off tomorrow anyway, so
I'm off tomorrow as well. But I'm
It's
going
not a
to
school
go.
night. I'm not off
Fair
tomorrow. It's
enough.
a school night for me.
oh, so we're all off.
I'm not off. No, I'm not off.
Oh, you're not
I'm
off.
on.
Okay.
I'm off,
I'm
but
on.
I have to take Callum to school in the morning, so it's technically not
So
off.
you're on.
Thanks for joining anyway. But by the way, to anybody who's still left, which is probably nobody, 'cause
Probably
there's only
nobody.
2 people watching. Which
It's
is
probably
us.
us.
If anybody rewatches this afterwards, there's always a link on top of the chat, so that's where you want to join. If you want to join in the future, everybody's welcome. Have a good night. Thanks for joining.
Good night.
All right, talk to you.